So hello everybody, this is Pamela Miles and I am with you from New York City. I always feel the need to tell people that because in the winter, especially right now, it's pretty cold here, and this is an old building. So sometimes the heat comes on and it's not quiet. It can sound almost like gunshots. So really, if you hear that, don't worry about it. There's nothing at all that I can do about it. And I just don't want you to be scared. All right? So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever you are. It's wonderful to have this time together, and I really, really appreciate so much your availability. I love meeting like this, especially because the internet, as we know, can bring out the worst in people. But that's not what we're doing. We're using this amazing technology, this incredible worldly power, and we're using it for the highest purpose, to help us be happier and help us be healthier and help us be able to help other people more. So thank you. And for those of you who are new to my work, I'll take just a minute to introduce myself. I am internationally known as a Reiki master and a Reiki master who is at the forefront of bringing Reiki practice into conventional medicine. I started doing that back in the 1990s. I've been practicing Reiki professionally and personally for 30 years. But what people usually don't know about me is that before I learned to practice Reiki, I was already a spiritual teacher and a healer. I was a meditation teacher, and I worked with people one-on-one, teaching them meditation and other spiritual practices and helping them heal themselves, helping to empower them to heal. And by the time that I learned to practice Reiki in 1986, I'd already been a student of meditation and yoga for almost 25 years. So although I'm known as a Reiki master and especially known for the medical work, it's always been so interesting to me that that's really a very small piece of the work that I've been doing for over 40 years. And yet, it's important to understand that all the spiritual practice that I've done, and that included, some years living in an ashram, but that's what made the difference in me being able to bring Reiki as a spiritual practice and meditation also into conventional medicine, because in the 1990s, doctors weren't really thinking like that. There were a few, but not too many. So I had a huge gap that I had to bridge. And I was able to get doctors' attention because of the AIDS epidemic. And so many things have opened up since then. And while I was doing this work, I was also a single mom. I was supporting my kids, who are not kids anymore. They haven't been kids in a long time. So I just want you to know that I am unusual in that I have a lot of experience with spiritual practices, and yet I've lived in the same world that you live in. I see a lot of teachers who do something for a few years and start writing books, and I'm sure that they will reach people and help those people. But if you want to create positive change in your life with integrity in as short a period of time as you can, then it's to your benefit to have the perspective of somebody who has really spent her life doing that, because after 50 plus years of meditation and yoga and teaching, I don't know how many people to practice, I've seen what helps move people along faster. And so what I've done in these programs is I've distilled the most accessible and the most powerful practices that I have come across and put them together in a way that you can use to really transform your life. And transformation is something we need now. So, does that sound good to you? Let me know. Let me know if we're on the same page here. Because last year when I scheduled Blessed Boundaries to start on January 27th, I had no idea how desperately it would be needed. Good, and I can see that people are interested in transformation. Because the world is made of people and you are people. So if you transform your life, then that spreads out to a lot of other people. When we change our world. We change the world around us. So at the end of this program, of this hour we spend together, if you want to continue working in this way, I'm going to give you a special offer on the Blessed Boundaries program. But whether or not you're interested in doing that, please stay with me till then, because you are going to be introduced to 4 very valuable and doable practices that you can start working with for your benefit right now. We're actually going to practice them here, most of them, and then you'll be able to start making a difference. So do you have a pen and a pad handy, or a keyboard? Because you're going to want to do some writing at some point. So if you don't have it handy, let's take a moment so you can gather that and let me know when you're ready to continue. I'll just watch the question area. Okay, looks like people have it together. Great. All right, so Corey, please advance the slide. I have a question for you. Are you feeling a bit overwhelmed lately? Tell me, are you? Because your way of life is being disrupted. And when times are disruptive, it's a very powerful time for transformation, right? It's disruption when we don't like it. It's transformation when we step into it. And that's what we'll be talking about here, how you can step into this thing that is happening anyway, whether we like it or not. Because we have to choose transformation. Right? We have to choose to transform. If we don't choose it, then the change will happen anyway. But if we want transformation, we have to make choices and take action. And if transformation sounds a little too big for you, then just think in terms of some positive change. Would you like to create some positive change in your life? Do you want to be able to stand up for yourself and your values? And to do that without putting other people down. This past weekend with the marches on Saturday, it was very interesting. I did march in New York, And as I looked around me, I saw a lot of things that I didn't relate to so well because a lot of people were there and they were putting other people down. And maybe it's to our credit that we were able to share the same streets of the same city. But I didn't feel like I was marching against something. I felt like I was marching for human rights. And when we know what we stand for, what we want to bring forth in our lives, then we have a better shot at creating it. So take a moment now and jot down, what do you stand for? Just jot down the first thing that comes to your head. This can be a work in process. This doesn't have to be the definitive essay on your life values. Just a few things. Get yourself started. What matters to you? What do you stand for? Remember, you can always revise this. And now, knowing at least one thing that you stand for, and if you can't think of anything in the moment, you can borrow human rights, okay? Because we're all human. And so chances are that's something we could unite around, and it can be a placeholder if you don't know yet what it is that matters to you. So is it the case that you're unclear in the moment what that means? Now that you know at least one thing that matters to you, that you stand for, isn't it true that in any given moment you don't know what that means to stand for that? And that's what boundaries are all about. It's like where the rubber hits the road. We have this heartfelt desire and we want to make it happen in the world. And yet in the moment, our inner GPS isn't working quite right. We don't know where to turn. We don't know to whom we should reach. So this discussion of boundaries is going to come from a totally different direction than probably you expected, but please stay with me because you need to understand more about boundaries if you're going to get better at them. And sometimes people think that boundaries are good things for other people to have, which isn't such a good idea because that just leaves us open for manipulation, right? If we're waiting for other people to get their boundary act together. So let's look at how you can know what can you do in this moment. In any given moment, but especially this moment, which is the only moment we have. This moment, the only moment we have, is also called the present. There are always limits to our personal power in the present. Okay? In any given moment, there are going to be limits. We can't just do anything we want anytime we want to, and that's, again, boundaries. If we're not aware of those limits, we cannot possibly align with what is possible in that moment. If we're not aware of the limits, we don't know what is the skillful, timely action we can take that will make a difference for us. The only way that we can know what limits we need to work with in the moment is to be present. And yet, it's human nature to vacate, to not be present when we feel helpless, when we feel overpowered, when we feel endangered, when we're afraid of consequences. So we want to develop the habit of being present. And for that, we need to practice. Practice being present. So take a look. Are you as present as you want to be right now? Are you as present as you want to be? In order to develop the habit of being present, would you like to do that? Shall we get present now? Let's get present all together around the world, getting present. How wonderful does that sound? The first step is so simple. You're going to wonder why you didn't think of it yourself. And maybe you have, and maybe you've even practiced it. And when you practice it again, we'll just take a few minutes to do it. You're going to wonder, why did I forget to do this? Right? So the first step is to simply get present in your body, because you cannot accomplish anything of merit in this world unless you're in your body. Your body is your ticket to this world. Your body is your vehicle in this world. If you don't have your body, you're really not in this world in the same meaningful way as you are when you have your ticket in hand. Okay? So if you lose sight of your ticket, you're not really here in the same way as if you're very present with your body. So let's do something really simple, and I'm watching the clock because I really want to show you how quickly this can make a difference. We're just going to flex the large muscles of the body, and it's probably easiest to practice the first time when you're sitting, but you'll get so you can do it when you're standing, and you'll get so you can do it when you're in the middle of a conversation. The first large muscles you want to flex are your glutes, and those are the muscles that you're sitting on. So when you flex your glutes, when you clench them, and you can do both of them at the same time, or you can go back and forth and then you feel like you're rocking. But when you clench your glutes, you get taller in your chair. So do that a few times. 1, 2, 3. Do it one more time and hold it for a couple seconds. Okay? Let's keep moving here. That was very fast. Now the next muscle group I want to talk to you about are your quads, and those are the muscles on the front of your thighs. So when you're sitting and you have your feet flat on the floor in front of you, your quads are on the top of your thighs. So rest your hands on your thighs, and that way you'll feel when you flex the quads. And with the quads, it's easier to do them one at a time. So do your right quad by pressing your heel into the floor, and feel what that does to the muscle on the top of your thigh. And then your left heel, and feel your left quad engage, and then the right, the left, the right, the left. Great. Now place your hands so that the backs of your thighs are resting in your hands. So again, if you're sitting with your feet on the floor in front of you, then it's as if you're cupping the backs of your thighs in your hands. And these are your hamstring muscles. Imagine, you don't have to really move so much here, but imagine that you're pulling the heel of each foot closer to your butt. And feel how that engages your hamstrings. And again, do one, the right, the left, the right, the left, the right, and hold it for 2 seconds. Let go, and the left, and hold it for 2 seconds. Now, close your eyes for just a moment and check in with yourself. How do you feel now? How are you? What difference do you notice? That was 2 minutes to do all of that. So please type in a word or 2 or 3. Relaxed. Good. What else? Did it make a difference in how present you felt? Okay, I'm getting some yeses here. Relaxed again, aware, calm, here, present, more awareness, and yes, more present. All right. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? How quickly that happened. And tell me, do you feel now like you're do you feel like you're a powerful person? And maybe that's too big. How about like you're a more powerful person or a little more powerful person than you were? Because the point of this is to make changes in the direction of feeling more powerful, because only powerful people can create positive change. Only powerful people can create positive change. You know, often people who are spiritually oriented, people who want to help others, who want to uplift the world, have a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction to the idea of being powerful. And that's understandable, because so many people who are in power in our world today, you know, are not really, they don't seem so motivated to be uplifting the world. And even still, there are some leaders who are, and we want to unite behind them and support them. But we also want to experience our power in our own lives. We want to feel powerful, not helpless. No? Because when we feel powerful, then we can make the reliable, incremental changes that make such a difference in the world. Right? And if we make these reliable, incremental changes, then maybe we'll be able to avoid cataclysmic changes, which are a lot harder to work with. So the whole idea of reliable, incremental changes is practice. That's what spiritual practice does. So we want to practice every day. It's not something we do occasionally. It's something we do every day, because when we have a practice that we do every day, then we're more likely to remember to use it in the moment when we need it. So have a time of day when you do this practice, this 2-minute practice. You can't tell me you don't have 2 minutes. Find a time of day every day when you can do that 2-minute practice. And what helps is to link it to an activity. Like maybe you do it when you first sit up in bed and your feet are on the floor, and you take a moment, then you go glutes, quads, hamstrings. Or maybe you walk into the bathroom, and when you get to brushing your teeth, you know, once you've practiced it a few times so you can practice while you're standing, that's a great time. Especially, it's easy to get to your legs then, because if you squat just a little bit, you know, then you have to engage your glutes. So practice is how you pave the road to a better future. It's like laying the bricks of that road to a better future. So you want to choose even one practice, and we're going to talk about a few others, that you will do reliably every day, because that practice will help you know in the moment where your boundaries are and help you feel powerful. You know, not like a bully. Bullies aren't powerful. That's a false power that they wield. But truly powerful, responsible for yourself and your boundaries. So the first boundary that I suggest you make is around your daily practice. Draw a boundary around that and don't breach it. Have a practice that is accessible enough that you can do it every day, no matter how badly you feel. And I just gave you one. And maybe you'll like some of the others too. Because it's important that we develop a relationship with our spiritual practice, that we rely on it. So we don't feel like, oh, I'm too tired today, I can't practice. No, we feel like, oh, I'm really tired today, I need my practice. Okay? Now before we go on to my favorite practice that I'm going to share with you today, I have 2 words for you. And those 2 words are exit strategy. Most of the time when we feel like our boundaries are collapsing and we feel pressured to make a commitment or an agreement in the moment, one that we're not so crazy about that idea, it's because we've forgotten we can get out of this situation. So I want you to develop some scripts for exiting a situation in which you're being pressed to make a commitment you don't want to make, because it's pretty rare that anything good comes of that. So the first part of your exit strategy is to say thank you. Thank the person for thinking of you. You know, that in and of itself is disarming. And if you're in person, you look them in the eye and you say, oh, thank you so much for thinking of me. I really appreciate it. And I would love to do something with you another time. All right, you've got to make the connection with the person. That way, you've minimized the hurt feelings. You can't necessarily make it totally go away, but you've been responsible for your part. And you've also let them know that you mean business. So first you thank them, and then you do something that delays your response. Right? You stall. So that can be, I'll give you a couple of scripts that you could work from. You know, you can say something like, you know, thank you, but I need to check my schedule. I have a feeling I'm not available, but I don't remember what's happening right now. I'll get back to you. I'll text you by tomorrow. Or, of course, in the now that we all have cell phones, you know, you can just start like this, and, you know, the old, you're breaking up, I'll call you back. But whatever you do, don't feel pressured in the moment. Get out of the moment. And then you can say, if you need to know now, no thank you. So then you're putting the ball in their court, that if they are pressuring you for a response, then the response is no, thank you. Right? Make the person responsible for you declining in the moment, and you can be gracious about it. Say something like, I can appreciate that you need to know now, because I want you to be able to invite somebody else. It's such a lovely opportunity, so I'm going to decline. Okay? Sound good? Tell me you're still with me. I'm looking for the yes, yes, because now we're going to do the most fun part. Good. Thank you. I appreciate everybody who is interacting, because you know what I'm doing here. I'm just talking to a screen. But In my heart, I feel all of you with me, and I appreciate it so much. All right. The favorite thing that I'm going to share with you today starts with something called free writing. And free writing is a skill that writers often use. It's kind of like a warm-up. You know, they just start writing, and free writing is writing freely. They just write and write and write. Maybe they'll think of something in the room. Their eye will fall on something in the room, and then they'll start writing to describe it and then see where that takes them. Okay, so the idea is to loosen up your writing muscles. So the important thing to know about free writing is that it's free. It is free. No grammar, no spelling, no stopping, no sharing, no worries. So we never share our free writing. Otherwise, it's not so free. Because anything we share, you know, we start having expectations about how it's going to be received, or is this person going to think I'm a jerk, or is this really stupid what I'm writing? And you don't want to go there. This is just writing for yourself, okay? You free write for yourself, nobody else. And you free write to express yourself, not to compose. It's a big difference between those two things. Just to express yourself, not to have a finished product. So a free write is not a finished product. It's an open sketch. Free writing is easy. Here's another way to remember it. Free writing is easy. It's not an essay. Those two words are so close to each other, but they're really, really different, right? No essay is easy, but free writing is. So free writing is totally, totally free. Did you get the picture? Totally free. I mean, it doesn't even have to make sense. Sometimes the best understanding comes from the free writes that don't make sense. So free writing is something that, you know, writers have known about for decades. But the idea that I had a couple years ago was, if we pair free writing with spiritual practice, then we can have a transformative and very accessible practice. So spiritual practice is something that we do that drops us into our heart, and free writing from the heart equals heart writing. That's just something I made up, heart writing. But you get where I'm taking you here. Free writing after you've dropped into your heart. So your fingers become the messengers of your heart. Heart writing creates transformation. And it creates transformation from inside you, which is the best transformation to create, that which emerges from the most profound part of your being. So can we free write together, heart write together now for just a few minutes? Oh, and we have to address the part about the spiritual practice. So if you are Reiki trained, you can place your hands on your heart, on your head, however you like, and that can be your spiritual practice. If you meditate, you can meditate for those few minutes. We just want to do a spiritual practice long enough until our awareness drops into our heart. But, you know, if you are not a meditator and you don't practice Reiki, don't worry. Because remember I said that I was a meditation teacher before I learned to practice Reiki? And I'll tell you a secret. I actually have a harder time staying out of meditation than I do going into meditation. Corey, would you advance the slide, please? So you can meditate and or place your hands for self-Reiki. Corey, you're a couple slides behind. Next one, please. If you don't meditate and you don't practice Reiki, all I want to ask you is, can you follow directions? If I make the directions really simple, can you just follow them and not make it complicated? Okay, because mostly when people think that they can't meditate, it's because they're trying to do too much. You don't have to quiet your mind. You don't have to stop thinking. You know, that happens in very, very advanced meditation. You can meditate right here and now, the person you are. Before we do that, before I start leading you in a very simple meditation, I want to just make sure that you have your pen and pad or your keyboard, whatever you're going to use, right within arm's reach, because after we meditate and or practice Reiki for just a couple minutes, then I'm going to ask you to open your eyes just a slit so you can grab your writing utensils and you can start writing from the prompt that I'm going to give you. Okay? So is everybody ready? Then please find a comfortable seat just where you are. Just kind of get up on your sit bones. Maybe squeeze your glutes a couple times, because it's actually easier to meditate when you're really in your body. It's when you're in your body, when you're aware of your body, you feel safe, you feel present, and meditation is easier. I want you to imagine that your breath is the pathway to your heart. Just follow my meditation guidance and imagine that your breath is the pathway to your heart. Now, I know that we actually breathe into our lungs. I'm being poetic here. Okay, I'm not talking about the physical body. I'm talking about something a little more subtle. So imagine that your breath is moving in and out of your heart. Close your eyes if you haven't done so. And if you have your own meditation practice, it's fine to do that. Or you can practice Reiki, or you can do both. But for the next couple minutes, please sit with your breath, just observing your breath moving in and out of your heart, as if you were sitting with a dear friend. You know, when we sit with a friend, we're not so focused on that person. It's a loose focus, right? We're aware of what's going on in the room. We remember something we forgot to do. We go off to tomorrow, you know, but we keep coming back to our friend and the story he or she is telling, because we love our friend and we're interested. Our breath might be our best friend. So I'm going to close my webcam, those of you who are live, but those of you who are on the recording, I hope that you're doing this with us. Just sit with your breath as you would sit with a friend. And when you hear my voice again, just follow my directions. Every time your awareness moves away from your breath, just gently bring it back. And don't try to block anything out. Just be present with all of it. But keep your awareness close to your breath. Please keep your eyes closed just a little longer. Become aware of your breath, aware of your heart. And then when you're ready, open your eyes just a tiny bit, just the amount you need to take your pad and pen or place your fingertips on your keyboard and write, "When I feel loved." And then keep writing whatever your heart gives to you to write. When I feel loved. Just keep writing and writing and writing, and you can write "when I feel loved" again. And we're going to stay with this. I'll be quiet for just a few minutes. Please finish what you're writing. And then write 3 words that describe your experience of writing. Okay, so these 3 words are not content related, but they're about your experience, the process. What did you feel as you were writing? Or what's the difference that it made in how you feel now? So write your 3 words down and then please share them in the question area. free, powerful, motivated. I felt like I was releasing, that I was centered and relaxed. Release awareness, sadness, in tune, in the flow, in deep, purging, expressive, true. Free and aware, expansive flow, inspired, safe, free, honest, open. These are all wonderful. Ease, flowing, release. Clarifying, surprising, shocking by the fluidity of the words. Free, connected. And there's more, but we'll keep going here. It's wonderful, isn't it? Amazingly powerful. Now I want you to sit and maybe close your eyes again for a moment and imagine being yourself, which should be pretty easy at this point. Just imagine being yourself. Now imagine being yourself, addressing confrontation clearly and compassionately. Imagine being yourself, addressing confrontation clearly and compassionately, not feeling intimidated and not intimidating others. Feeling balanced. Isn't that who you long to be? And I would say, isn't that who you really, truly are? Isn't it a matter of just expressing that you that's deep within you? Sometimes so deep it's hard to find, but is really always there. So now please consider, what is it costing you not to spend time with your heart every day? What is it costing you? You know, boundaries affect every part of our life, our health, our happiness, our relationships, our work, our career, our finances. Do you want to stop hurting yourself? You can. You can change. You know, the person who's sitting in your chair. The secret to healthy, compassionate boundaries. The secret to healthy, compassionate boundaries is really very simple. Stay aware of your body and of your heart. Stay aware of your body and your heart. When you are aware of your body and your heart, you're present in the moment. And it's clear how to handle yourself, how to stand up for yourself and your values without putting other people down. You can do it using these practices. I was thinking 4 practices, but actually I realized I've given you 5 practices. The body, the exit strategy, little meditation instruction, heart writing, and then your imagination, using your imagination, conjuring up what it feels like to be you, to be powerful, and be sweet, to be yourself. So you can use these practices and you can change. You can do it on your own, but you could also have more fun, more support, and I promise you, get better results if you join us for Blessed Boundaries. for the 3-week program that starts Friday, January 27th. And this is what we do in the program, and of course the heat is coming up now, so I'll talk louder. In the 3-week program, you will heart write at home, as we just did every day, with ongoing support. And the support comes in the form of daily prompts and blessings. So every day you'll have a prompt that you can write from that day and a blessing to inspire you. You'll also have Pamela's Pearls, affectionately called that, which is a series of articles that I write only for this program. I do not publish them elsewhere. And I keep the articles short so that you can actually take the time and read them and work with them. And you'll also have an international online community. So the heart writing will happen at home. You'll get an email every day. And here's what the email looks like. Corey, if you'll move it along. So it's a little hard to read on the screen because that's not the way you would be reading it, but you can see it has the day 1, and then your writing prompt, when I feel loved, and your practice blessing. And then there'll be a link to any new posts for that day, so you can click right from the email, and it will take you to the page. Let's take a look at the page. That we have a special part of my website that is private. It's only for people in the Blessed Boundaries program, and each day there's a page that again has the prompt and the blessing, and then a place where you can leave a comment. So you can come on the page right from the email and you can leave your 3 words. If you're busy, you have to get going, or you can leave more of a comment. You can talk more about how it felt to write, but you never ever share your heart right here. Okay, that's private, that's just for you. So the Blessed Boundaries program, here it is in a nutshell, a 3-week program at home with support. It's like taking a retreat and living your life at the same time. It's kind of like, you know, in New York we have takeout, or in London they call it takeaway. You take it away and you bring it home with you. Bring home your retreat. So the daily emails with the prompts and blessings and the links that take you right to where you can read Pamela's Pearls, the articles. I am in the that area, we call it the Writer's Haven of my website, many times a day. So you get lots of online mentoring from me. We have one live and recorded online Q&A call like this, but more interactive. People get to ask questions. And the 3 weeks are sprinkled with Writer's Choice days. They give some ease to the program, so that if there's a day when you don't get to write, or you don't get to write as long as you would like to, you can use the Writer's Choice days to catch up, or you can write again if there is a prompt that you particularly like. So this program, now I want to show you a couple of testimonials that people who have been through the program, because I've done it a number of times, have said, Sue wrote, this program has been illuminating. I love that word. It reminds me of transformation. A lot of deep work took place through the prompts and my free writing and the articles. And that deep work, I want to say, happens really gently because it's sourced from within you through your heart writing. It's not something that's being imposed on you. And Sue said, my eyes open to a different way of looking at experiences and thought processes. You know, as we go through the program with our heart writing, what we're doing is we're writing out the stories that we've been telling ourselves, the stories that have kept us feeling limited and in pain and suffering and less than. And then we start writing the story that we want to live. And the next testimonial that I want to share with you, and there are more of them on the program page, this came from Diane, who said, your articles were off the charts helpful. That's how they started to be called Pamela's Pearls. And she said, with the effort I was willing to make, you were willing to meet me there and take it up a notch, allowing me to push myself rather than feeling pushed. That's very important to me, that you're going at your own pace, that you feel supported and inspired, not pushed. And Diane said, and thank you to my fellow writers. People really developed lovely relationships in this program. You inspired me to see things differently, think of things differently, and I totally enjoyed the company of each of you. So here are the dates for the 3 weeks of at-home and online participation. We start Friday, January 27th, and we finish Thursday, February 16th. And right now, the early fee is still available. The early fee for the program is $139, and it is available through tomorrow, through Wednesday, January 25th, midnight New York City time. Then the full program fee goes into effect, and that's $189. $189 for 3 weeks, unlimited support, as much participation as you want. I also wanted to offer you a couple other things, because I really, I want people to get engaged in their healing. So for the next couple of days until Saturday, January 28th, if you would like to do a private, an individual phone or Skype healing session, maybe you feel like you don't want to commit to 3 weeks, but you could commit to a single private session, then we can schedule it for $150 instead of the usual $245, and that's a savings to you of 40%. And the promo code is there, healing. We will give you the promo codes in the email with the link to the recording that will go out very soon. And if you want to really make a positive change in your life with a lot of support, then there's a special package. You can sign up for 5 sessions, but we do the 5 sessions in a month. And instead of $1,470, which is what that would normally cost if you booked 5 individual sessions, the cost for you would be $599. So that's a 60% savings. And again, you have only until noon Eastern Time to register for these specials. So I want to ask you, do you want to stand up for yourself and your values without putting others down? Your way of life is being disrupted. Disruptive times are powerful times for transformation. But you have to choose to transform. Please tell me, what is your choice? I would love to continue working with you. But even if you don't choose to join me in any of these ways, either the Blessed Boundaries or the private sessions, still use the practices. Practice every day and let me know how it's going for you. I love to hear from you. So now I'm going to say goodbye to everybody who has joined us on the recording. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope that we get together again real soon.